Hello. In the last lesson, we used slices of pizza as a way of finding out about equivalent fractions. Each fraction represented part of one whole thing, like this pizza. But all the fractions we looked at had the bottom number larger than the top number. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're the sort of fractions we're used to. We know that a fraction like 3/4 of a pizza is 3/4 of a pizza. But there's also nothing wrong with having a fraction where the top number is larger than the bottom. For example, 8/3. Now, fractions like this are sometimes called top-heavy fractions because the top number is the larger. And sometimes they're known as improper fractions. I suppose that's because they aren't what we usually think of as fractions. Now, in this lesson, we're going to get used to working with these improper fractions. And to do that, we're going to have to go to the Eat As Much As You Like buffet. Now, I've got a buffet filled with these pizzas. Each whole pizza fills a plate and is sliced up into thirds. How many pizzas are there here? Well, you can mix whole numbers and fractions. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 whole pizzas and 1/3 of a pizza. So that's 4 and 1/3. And we call that a mixed number. But even though we're in the Eat As Much As You Like buffet, I don't want to be greedy, so I'll put 2 plates aside. So let's say that I plan to eat these. There are now 2 and 1/3 pizzas. But how many of these third of a pizza slices have I got here? Well, we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one over here makes 7/3. Now I can put that as 7/3. So I've found one of these improper fractions where the top number of the fraction is larger than the bottom number. Now this sort of fraction is a way of breaking up a mixed number, and that's a whole number and a fraction, and writing them just as a single fraction, an improper fraction. So 2 and 1/3 equals 7/3. Now what if I was extra greedy? And remember, this is an Eat As Much As You Like buffet. Well, that's my excuse anyway. What if I also wanted the other 6 slices of pizza that I had before? How many thirds have I got now? Well, I had 7/3, so 6 more gives me 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 thirds. Now you can count up the full plates and the fractions of a pizza to change this improper fraction, 13/3, back into a mixed number. That means that all 13 slices are the same as 1, 2, 3, 4 whole pizzas and 1/3. 4 and 1/3. So 4 and 1/3 equals 13 thirds. Now here I've got a mixed fraction. That's a whole number and a fraction together with the same thing written as an improper fraction. 4 and 1/3 equals 13 thirds. And earlier I had 2 and 1/3, which equals 7/3. Now having pizzas helped me to work out the improper fractions, but there's a clever way of making improper fractions just from the numbers. I'll show you what to do and why it works. What do you get if you multiply the 2 and the 3 and then add the 1? Well, 2 times 3 is 6 and 1 more makes 7. And that is the number at the top of my improper fraction. The bottom numbers are exactly the same. So why does that work? Well, one whole pizza is 3/3. And multiplying the whole number by 3 tells us how many thirds in the two whole pizzas. And then finally, we add on this third. So let's count the thirds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 7/3. Now let's look at 4 and 1/3. And we'll use the same method with the numbers to check that we get this same improper fraction that we got earlier. So first take the whole number, that's a 4, and multiply it by the number that's underneath, that's a 3. And that gives us 12/3. Don't forget to add on this third, and what do we get? Well, we get 13/3. 4 times 3 comes to 12, add on 1 equals 13. Now again, that's the same as the top of the improper fraction. And the number 3 underneath stays the same. Okay, let's practice on some more mixed numbers. And we'll start with 3.5. Now I want to make it into an improper fraction. That is, how many halves are there all together? So, the bottom number stays the same as the bottom of this fraction. So it will be something over 2. Now to work out the top number here, we have to multiply the 3, that's the whole number, by 2. That's 6 halves. And then add this half. That's 7. So 3 and 1/2 equals 7/2. That's 7 halves altogether. So here's another mixed number. See if you can make it into an improper fraction before me. 2 and 4/5. Okay, what was my rule then for changing this into an improper fraction? Well, the bottom number of the fraction remains as it is. So I'll write that in first. Now I want to know how many fifths there are all together. And the whole number is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Add on the 4, that's 14. Now 2 whole ones and 4/5 equals 14/5. Well done if you worked that out before I did.